Okay, we're about to move on to task 2, record the transactions for June for the appropriate journals. And as well as that, we're about to look at a few other things that will be helpful in terms of Excel. So, first thing I need to do, I moved subsidiary ledger to near the trial balance. So I now need to move it back after the special journals. So I left click on that and nothing happens. I'll left click again and put it after special journals. So back to instructions. Record the transactions for June for the appropriate journals. So let's go to the transactions. Now I really recommend you print off these transactions, will make it much easier. And for the opening balances we were able to put links to cells, but that's not going to be viable here, so the real thing is to print this off. So where are we going to have these transactions? They'll be in the special journals and also some in the general journal. We've got 4 special journals. The sales journal for credit sales, the purchases journal for purchases that we make on credit, the cash payments journal for when we pay cash for things, and cash is a wide term. It means really if money comes out of our bank account. So we write a check for something, that's a cash payments. So cash receipts journal, it's money coming in, the same point, pretty wide definition, anything that goes into our bank account. Cash payments journal, anything that goes out of our bank account. So, you know, we write checks, but there could also be direct debits and the such. These 2 items together, cash receipts journal and cash payments journal, are commonly referred to as the cash book. Now, do you need to understand this at this stage? Not yet. We don't study that until for about topic 4, but by the time we get to topic 4 you'll know this reasonably well. So let's go back to the transactions. Firstly, we'll work out which special journal the transaction goes in, and we'll write it over here. So what are our choices down below? We've got the sales journal for sales that we make on credit, sales on credit, the purchases journal for things we buy on credit, the cash receipts journal for receipts of cash, receipts of money, cash payments journal, payments we make, mostly by check, and if it doesn't go in one of those, then it's going to go in the general journal. So let's work out where the first transaction goes. We sell 17 computers on credit to Fred Flintstone for $2,100 each. We haven't included GST in that price, though on the invoice we'll have to have it, and the invoice number is 241, and terms there I've said 210 net 30. I think that's a mistake, so let's change that now. 210, let's go here and change that to 210, not 1010. What does 210 net 30 mean? Well, it means if you pay the bill within 10 days you get a 2% discount, and if you haven't, then the whole lot is due within 30 days, so referred to as 210 net 30. So again, the 2 stands for 2%, the 10 stands for 10 days. But this item, we sell 17 computers on credit. Sell on credit. Righto, that is going to be therefore the sales journal, and it has gone green. So let's go to the sales journal and record this. Sales journal, well, I've got this item in here for you, so let's take it out. Good. So June 1, account debited is Fred Flintstone. The invoice number is 241. Now we get to the challenging bits. These sales are 2100 times 15 times 17. Now these are things that I've got a spot there for working papers at the back. We might actually go and put a working paper in there. So 35,700. Then what's the GST on that? Well, GST is a tenth of the price excluding GST, so that's 35,700 excluding GST, so we divide that by 10. So the total bill, total accounts receivable, is going to be 35,700 plus 3,570, and that item's gone green. Now we notice these items didn't go green, so, and they were in fact meant to. So it could be that they're wrong, but they're not wrong. So let's have a look how we could fix that scenario up. The quickest way, I don't want to answer whatever that is to take this, go up to a format painter, copy the formats, and we'll paste there. That's gone green. Let's do the next one. That's gone green. Now what we want to test though is it hasn't just gone green all the time. Let's take that number out and see what happens. Delete, take it out, and it's not green anymore, and that one's not green, so let's put it back in. And that's part of our journal done. So the next part of the journal, so there's two parts. When you sell something, you receive income, and which is the credit sales, and people owe you money, which is an asset. So a credit to sales, a debit to assets, accounts receivable, and as well as that we've got GST in the picture, that you need to collect GST on behalf of the government. So you've got credit GST, which is really a liability to the government, and then you've also got to add that to your account receivable. But as well as that, we're also selling inventory, so we need to work out how much the inventory is. So let's go to the inventory account, and we see in here we don't have an opening balance. 31st of the 5th 2013, that's last month. So where will we find the closing balance for last month? We will find that in helpful information. Helpful information, we have 31st of May, 157 computers at $1,500. So let's go to inventory. 157 computers. Right, so here it says we have a problem. Why do we have a problem, and how could you fix this? Well, the problem is these cells are protected, and how do we unprotect them? Well, this is what we will need to do. I'll just have to extend this over so you can see a bit that I don't normally have in here. Right, so we need to go to Format, Unprotect Sheet, of Unprotected Sheet. Now we'll need to go to these cells, and we'll notice that Format cells, and this cell is locked. So we unlock that cell. I know, but there could well be other cells that are also protected that we want to unprotect. So let's have a look here. We can have a check of that. We go Format Cells, and it will say that that filled in means some cells are locked and some are not. So we want them all unlocked. So we'll unlock all of those. Now let's just have a general check to see if any of this other information is locked. Format cells, there's some locked, some hidden. Let's fix that up. So they're all okay. Now let's go back and protect the sheet again. You'll be asked for a password. Don't put a password in. I haven't put a password in, otherwise I won't be able to show you things. Now again, This material we're looking at here is not accessible in any way, but you should just know a little bit about spreadsheets if you're going into accounting. Let me drag this back in the right spot. Righto. So now let's enter that in. We had 57 quantity at $1,500, and therefore the total cost equals 85,500. I better check that. Was that right? Because they didn't go green. And again, if not, you'll know how to fix it. So let's just check. Instructions. Helpful information. Oh, it's 157. So I got that wrong. Inventory, I go 157. And so now I know that that's right. Righto. Now we've got our first transaction of the first of the 6. Did we purchase? No, we sold. We sold 17 computers at a unit cost of $1,500, and the total cost that we were carrying them for, so those 17 computers we sold, based on the pricing system we used, cost us $25,500. So what does that mean in the special journal? Well, our cost of goods sold was $25,500. Inventory, the cost of these goods that we sold, $25,500. Our inventory will fall by $25,500. Again, it hasn't gone green, could be because it's wrong. Make it green. Well, check the formatting. Let's just delete that and then undo. Go up the top to the undo button, and we now have that right. So there's one further thing we need to do with this. It is a sale on credit, so we need to record this in the accounts receivable subsidiary ledger. Fred Flintstone owes us money, so go to Fred Flintstone, accounts receivable. Now I haven't put the opening balances in here yet because I didn't do that in the last video. Hopefully you have, so this will balance for you when you get it right, but for me it won't. So Fred Flintstone, June 1, explanation. I won't put an explanation in because this is a reasonably self-explanatory item. So what's the reference? Well, it's from the sales journal, so, and it is going to be a debit. Sales journal, we go into the account debit, 39,270. What does the total of this equal? Well, it goes equals the opening balance plus the debit minus any credits, and that's the opening balance. Now mine hasn't gone green, but yours should go green because you've got an opening balance in there. Now, well, let's test. I can look up my opening balance. Date, June 1, explanation, opening balance, and the opening balance is, you'll remember I go to the trial balance, Fred Flintstone is 4,400, and yes, that's gone correct. And this will need to be a debit. These won't go green. It's only the numbers pretty much that will go that way. So that's done. Let's look at the second transaction. So you can see that was a reasonably complex transaction. You needed to record it in 3 places. The sales journal, to record the journal, and then you need to post it to a subsidiary ledger, and then you needed to also do it in your inventory records. And later, I've got one more thing. To indicate that we have posted it to the subsidiary ledger, I put a T in here. Now why a T? Because before we had computers, we used to just tick it. Yep, that's been posted, that's a tick. So now instead of a tick, we write in a T. Now let me say one other thing about this in the helpful information. As at the 31st of May, there was 157 computers at an average cost of $1,500. Here is one example where we've really simplified things so that it's not realistic. So imagine in practice, if you had 157 computers on hand in a computer store, there you really need an inventory calculation for each type of computer. So you'll have your laptops, you'll have your desktops, you'll have your notebooks, you'll have all sorts of other computers, and then with each of those categories you'll have different class of computers as well. So we've simplified this by putting them all in together. Righto, let's go to the second transaction on the 4th. Now, transactions, pay freight in of $2,750. Righto, is that a sale we've made? No. Is that a purchase we've made? Well, yeah, we've bought freight. Is it on credit? No. Receipt of money? No. Payments we make mostly by cheque. That's a payment we've made for freight, and it is by cheque. So that is going to be cash payments. Cash payments, yep, that's correct. Let's record this in the cash payments journal. Special journals, cash payments. And this is June, another cell protected. Righto, so you should pause this recording while you unprotect this, and then I'll come back and run through it just in case you haven't got it. So pause it now. Right, now after the pausing you go over to the format, which is outside my screen. Let me just drag the screen over there. Format, unprotect. Let me drag the screen back. Righto, let's see which cells here. We notice this, we want all of those to be unprotected. So we go format cells. We notice some are protected, some are unprotected. We don't need to know individually. We want to know them all to be unprotected. So they're all unprotected, done. Now, we could just do a general check of some of these. We want pretty much all of these to be unprotected. We don't want those in the middle to be unprotected. But let's have a look to see if any other cells are protected. Right, we still have some. So let's go in this area here. We want all of these to be unprotected. Format cells, they're all unprotected. Format cells, they're all unprotected, so it's only ones that we want to be protected. Now go back and protect the sheet again. Don't put in a password, just OK. Righto, cash payments. June 4. Account, freight, check number 0611, or we can just put 611. Posting reference, we haven't posted it yet. Now it is 1660, it's 2750. Now that's a payment we made, that's a bill we've got, so it's going to include GST. So the cash at bank, we've written a cheque for 2750. Now it's where do we put it in? It's not an account payable. It is another account. So we've got two parts of that. So credit cash at bank, debit expense. So net, for the net account, how do we work that out? Well, actually, let's work out the GST first. So GST is going to be 1/11 of this item. Divided by 11, $250, and then the net will be this times 10. So now we'll see 2,500 plus 250 is the 2,750 2,750. So the money we've paid for freight has got two components: the GST, which is 1/11th of the total price, and then 10/11ths of the total price is the actual expense. Now, I'm sure you've heard the GST rate is 10%, so why am I saying 1/11th? Well, let's have a look at this. If the price before GST was $100, GST on that, therefore, of 10% is $10. So we go $100 plus $10 becomes $110. So what's $10, the GST of 110? It's 1/11th of 110. We will look at this in more detail at some stage, but most of you won't need to. That's done. There's no inventory implications and no subsidiary ledger implications, unlike the next journal. Transaction: purchase 20 computers on credit from Orange Computers for $1,660 each. And their terms 210, net 30. So if we pay within 10 days, we get a 2% discount. Righto. Is this a sale on credit? No, this is a purchase. Yep, but is it a purchase on credit? Purchase 20 computers on credit. So this will be a P for Purchaser's Journal. Into the Purchaser's Journal. So we go here. June 4, Orange Computers, terms 210, net 30. A question for you. Here we've recorded the terms, however up here we didn't record the terms. And we didn't record the terms up here because generally it's not necessary. Can you think of why that is? Where down here we may need to record the terms. Maybe I should put that up as a topic on the discussion board. Posting reference, we haven't posted it yet. So we purchased 20 computers on credit for $1,660. Righto. So firstly, that's going to be our inventory. So we've got 1,660, the cost of each of them, times 20. So our inventory, because we've purchased, will go up 3,320. Then we've got the GST on top of that. So take this number, divide by 10. So why did I divide by 10? Because the 1,660 was excluding GST. So what's our total that we owe for this? Is 33,020 plus 10% GST is 36,520. Now we need to post this to the subsidiary ledger. What subsidiary ledger? Accounts payable. Subsidiary ledger accounts payable, Orange Computers, June 4, Purchaser's Journal. It's going to be a credit. We'll go to Special Journals, a credit of 3650. Now, what's the balance? Is the balance, opening balance, which is a credit balance, so plus any other credit balances, minus any debit balances, and that balance there will be a credit. We've now posted that to the subsidiary ledger, so we go back to Special Journals and we tick it to say we've posted it. We put in a T for the posting reference. Now we still need to update the inventory ledger. So 4th of June, quantity 20 computers, unit cost 1,660, total cost equals 33,200. Righto, there's a few things that I haven't done over here, which I didn't last time, so I better do that last time. So the inventory 157 minus 17 that we sold. Total cost of what we had is the total cost at the start less the 25,500 we sold. So the average cost of computers won't change at $1,500 each. But this time they will change. So how do we update this? Well, we go equals the opening balance we had plus any purchases minus any sales, but we're only doing one per line, so that's not an issue. Well, I guess I could put it in so it's the same everywhere. Righto, we do this. Is this line plus any purchases, which we didn't have any, minus any sales equals that balance, and then I can just fill down. So how do I fill down? I take this cell, I drag it down to there, or I can keep dragging it all the way down for that matter, update itself. I drag it down and I go Control and D, and that will fill all the way down. Then we need to do the same here. Is the opening cost plus any purchases minus any sales, and we get the total there. And again, I go drag that down there, go Control D, and that amount all the way down. But we can see these are not the right balances. Why? Because we haven't filled in the transactions, and maybe you just leave those blank. What's the average unit cost now? Well, 243,000 divided by the quantity 160, so average unit price is now 15.20. So now that is up to date. So let's go back, look at the next transaction. I'm going to let you do it yourself. I'll come back and do this in a few days. I'd like you to go on and do a few by yourself to see how you go. But starting point, cash payments. Received a cash payment from Sporting Goods. This is a bit of a trick terminology. You think, oh, cash payment, that goes in cash payments journal, but think about it. You receive cash from Sporting Goods Company. You receive cash. What happens when you receive cash? Receipt of money goes into the cash receipts journal. Cash receipts journal. So you have to put that amount in. Now, think about the transactions you've got here. You've got the cash receipts journal involved, and also Sporting Goods Company as an accounts payable, so you've got the accounts payable subsidiary ledger. You have one other tricky issue, so actually I won't do it now because this is getting long enough, and there might be the issue of discount comes into this, so that might give you a bit of a challenge before we put up the solution. But we'll stop this here now and we'll come back and we'll finish this one soon.